For centuries, the ancient masters safeguarded a potent secret, a process capable of transforming everything, both around and within you. This wisdom was so profound that it was cloaked in legend, hidden in symbols, and shielded from those not yet ready to perceive it. This process is known as alchemy. However, set aside everything you've ever heard about turning metals into gold. True alchemy is far more expansive, and it is unfolding right now inside you and through this very video. Before we dive in any further, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss an insight that could change your life. Its appearance isn't accidental, it's the sign you've been waiting for, because your awakening has already begun. You might sense it in small synchronicities, in thoughts that seem to appear out of nowhere, and in a quiet restlessness that makes you question what you once considered certain. What does all of this mean? It means that the spark has been ignited. Alchemy is actively working to reshape your reality from the inside out. And now there's one crucial question. Are you ready to understand this process? And more importantly, learn how to use it? If so, stay with me until the end, because what comes next will change everything. You've likely heard that ancient alchemists strove to transform lead into gold. But what if I told you that they were never really focused on metals at all? That pursuit was the greatest diversion in history. While the world at large believed that alchemy was merely a laboratory experiment, the true initiates understood that real transmutation takes place within the human being. It's not about physical gold. It's about something infinitely more valuable, the awakening of consciousness. Occult masters spoke of the great work, a subtle yet powerful process that dissolves the non-essential and reveals your true essence. To truly understand this, you first need to know where it all begins. Ancient texts speak of the prima materia, the original substance from which everything originates, the very foundation of creation. In practical terms, this means that within you lies a pure, raw potential waiting to be refined, a spark buried beneath layers of fear, conditioning, and beliefs imposed by the world. This is why alchemy is a process of purification. Before lead can be transformed into gold, it must first be reduced to its purest state. This doesn't happen with a simple touch. The material must be subjected to fire, dissolved and disintegrated until every impurity is eliminated. Only then can what remains be elevated to its most refined form. The same transformation occurs within you. From the moment you're born, you're conditioned to believe that you are merely a body, an identity, a collection of memories and titles. Yet none of that is truly you. Your inner alchemy begins when you start to question what in you is genuine and what is simply a reflection of what you were taught to be. This process can be brutal. It shatters illusions, breaks certainties, and demands courage. But remember, every great transformation must pass through chaos before order is restored. The ancients called this journey the quest for the philosopher's stone. But the truth is that this stone isn't something you find outside yourself. It resides within you, waiting to be discovered. And the first step on this journey is fire. The fire that burns away all that is superfluous, revealing what has always been hidden. This is the fire of transmutation, the catalyst for the great work, the journey of true transformation. Once the truth is revealed, a new process begins, a process known as the great work. The ancient alchemists knew that transformation doesn't happen in an instant. It unfolds in stages, each one deeper than the last, much like a cycle of death and rebirth. In every phase of internal alchemy, that which no longer serves you is destroyed, making space for something new. The first stage is calcination, where the burning fire reduces impurities to their essence. In this stage, illusions start to crumble, masks fall away, and even the ego, resistant as it is, finds itself unable to cling to the familiar. This relentless process burns away limiting beliefs, ancient fears, and emotional patterns that have repeated over lifetimes until nothing remains but raw truth. Next comes dissolution, where the remnants of the old self dissolve like a river carrying away what can no longer remain. In this moment, everything seems to fall apart. The old identity dissolves, but this dissolution isn't the end. It's merely the clearing of space for something new to emerge. Then comes coagulation, where what was once fluid begins to take shape again, but in a different, purer, and more elevated form. This is rebirth, the reconstruction of a self that is now free from the burdens it once carried. And the process doesn't stop there. With each cycle, new levels of transformation unfold, accessing deeper layers until the lead of the mind and heart is continuously purified, and the inner gold finally shines without impurity. The alchemists referred to this process as the magnum opus, the great work. And it is not just a metaphor, it is a living process happening within you even now. Fire is essential for the great work to function, and its importance cannot be overstated. Fire is the active principle of creation and transformation. It doesn't merely alter what it touches, it awakens, accelerates, and propels spiritual evolution. Fire is spirit in motion. It dissolves rigidity, burns away illusions, and illuminates what was once hidden. If there is one symbol that represents the awakening of consciousness, it is fire. Not because it only destroys, but because it reveals. It consumes all that has outlived its purpose, making space for what must emerge. In many spiritual traditions, fire is associated with enlightenment, purification, and vital energy. It is the flame that rises up the spine when one awakens to their true nature, the warmth felt in the hearts of those who discover a higher purpose, and the fire that incinerates everything untrue or that prevents the soul from expanding. Yet, fire cannot be controlled. You may attempt to hold it, shape it, or direct it, but ultimately it follows its own path, obeying only the necessity of transformation. Let me share a brief story to illustrate this lesson. Once there was a traveler who spent years searching for a spiritual master capable of teaching him the secret of enlightenment. He crossed vast deserts, climbed rugged mountains, and knocked on the doors of hidden temples, yet nothing ever satisfied his quest for truth. Until one day he arrived at a village where whispers spoke of an old hermit who lived alone in a forest. Determined to find his answer, the traveler sought out the hermit. When he finally found him, the master was sitting in front of a fire, watching the flames dance in the wind. "Master," the traveler said, "I have dedicated my entire life to searching for the truth. Can you show me the path to enlightenment?" The master said nothing at first. He simply pointed toward the fire. Confused, the traveler pressed on. "I understand metaphors and symbols, but I need something tangible, a clear, real path." The master looked at the dancing flames, then picked up a dry branch and placed it into the fire. Within seconds, the branch was completely consumed. "Observe," he said. "Fire does not ask for permission to burn. It simply does. If something is flammable, it consumes it. If it is not, the fire merely illuminates." The traveler watched in silence as the truth began to take root. If you seek enlightenment, you must first understand the fire within you. It burns away everything that isn't real. It cannot be held or possessed, but you can feel its presence. The master then lit the tip of another branch and handed it to the traveler. "If you wish to keep the fire alive, you must nourish it, but be careful, for if you are not, it may consume all that you believe yourself to be." Standing there with the burning branch in hand, the traveler began to understand that enlightenment isn't something you find externally. It is a flame that must burn within you until every falsehood is eradicated. In spiritual traditions, fire represents this ongoing state of transformation. It is not static. It moves, dances, grows, and spreads. It is the driving force of the spirit's expansion. When you feel that inner burning, whether it's a restlessness, a call for something greater, or the discomfort that accompanies change, it is the fire of consciousness stirring within you, urging you toward a new stage. Yet, many try to extinguish this flame, to run from it or resist its transformative power. The problem is that ignoring the fire does not make it disappear. It remains, waiting for the moment to burn away what is no longer needed. This is the essence of transmutation and evolution, the alchemy of consciousness. But fire alone is only the beginning. Its role is to initiate the process of transmutation. The ultimate purpose of alchemy is not mere destruction, but evolution. The transformation of lead into gold was never just an experimental exercise. It was a coded map for the awakening of consciousness. In this allegory, lead represents the raw, dense state limited by the illusion of matter, while gold symbolizes an elevated state of consciousness that is free from the chains of the material world. This is the heart of the alchemy of consciousness. Every human being is born as lead, a heavy, impure substance burdened by layers of conditioning, limiting beliefs, and repetitive patterns inherited from society, family, and past experiences. Yet, within that lead lies something hidden, something that the eyes cannot see but has always been there. Spiritual evolution does not occur through knowledge alone. It happens when consciousness undergoes purification. Just as metal is refined in a forge, this purification comes through challenges, trials, and moments of collapse. Just as fire refines metal by burning away its impurities, difficulties burn away illusions, attachments, and constructed identities that are not true. The greater the resistance you face, the more intense the fire must be. Some choose to cling to the familiar, even if it means remaining trapped in cycles of pain and suffering. But those who accept the call of transmutation soon discover that every external transformation mirrors an internal one. What once appeared as an obstacle reveals itself as a gateway, and what seemed like an ending is, in truth, a new beginning. At its deepest level, alchemy is not merely about transformation. It is an act of salvation. Few realize this, but the ancient initiates understood transmutation as the rescue of the soul, a rescue not performed by an external force, but accomplished by freeing yourself from the chains of illusion. For centuries, human consciousness has sunk deeper into matter, forgetting its true origin and creating invisible prisons built from fear, limiting beliefs, and an endless pursuit of things that never truly fill the inner void. The world has taught us that we are only physical bodies, that life is limited to what we can see and touch. But the true alchemist knew that this was the greatest illusion of all. True alchemy is the liberation of the spirit trapped within matter, a process the ancients described as the great work of salvation. This concept appears across various spiritual traditions. In esoteric Christianity, for instance, it emerges as Christ consciousness, where Christ represents the awakening of the divine spark within every person. He descends into matter, enters the dream of creation, and awakens those who remain asleep, not saving from the outside in, but igniting the flame of awakening from within. In Hermetic teachings, this journey is described as the ascension of the soul, a departure from ignorance and a reconnection with the source, a return to the original state where one is no longer a slave to worldly illusions, but a master of one's own existence. The philosophical gold of alchemy isn't a metal, it is the redemption of the spirit, the liberation of the mind from the invisible chains that imprison it, marking the end of unconsciousness and the beginning of a fully awakened life, where matter serves as a vehicle for inner light. If transmutation has already begun within you, it means your soul is reclaiming what has always been its own. Yet, the transformation of the soul is not a new idea. This knowledge has traversed the ages, hidden between the lines of ancient texts and guarded by those who truly understood its meaning. Alchemy did not originate in one single place, nor does it belong exclusively to any one tradition. It is as ancient as humanity itself, and as universal as the search for awakening. Although the word alchemy derives from the Arabic alchemia, its roots are intertwined with something even older, the term chem, reminiscent of ancient Egypt, the Black Land. This name was not just a nod to the fertile soil along the Nile, but also to the profound mystery that shrouded that civilization. In Egypt, alchemy was known as the black art, not in a negative sense, but because it was connected to the cycles of death and rebirth. The Egyptian priests understood that dissolution was necessary before creation could occur. Even the practice of mummification was an attempt to eternalize matter and transcend it. However, true alchemy didn't take place in the temple of Anubis. It occurred within the consciousness of those who underwent the rites of initiation. Those who passed the spiritual trials discovered a profound secret. The body is merely a reflection of the soul, and physical transformation is nothing more than a mirror of inner change. This sacred knowledge spread throughout the world, taking on different forms in different civilizations. In the East, alchemy followed a distinct path. The ancient masters of India and China realized that true transmutation was not only about external elements, but also about the vital energy flowing through the human body. This understanding gave rise to the practice of Kundalini, the serpent of fire resting at the base of the spine, which, when awakened, elevates consciousness to higher realms. Their quest for immortality was not about the endless life of the physical body, but the immortality of consciousness. Ancient Taoist practitioners prepared elixirs that not only fortified the body, but also activated altered states of perception, allowing the spirit to transcend the confines of the material world. What many have overlooked through history is that despite the apparent differences between these traditions, they all share the same hidden truth. The visible world is a reflection of the invisible, and the transformation of matter mirrors the transformation of consciousness. This wasn't just philosophy. It was a sacred science, a living body of knowledge that transcended generations and cultures while preserving its essence. At the core of this wisdom is the concept of the quintessence, the lost link between spirit and matter. Beyond the transmutation of metals, beyond Hermetic rituals and secret formulas, lies something that cannot be touched, weighed, or measured. The ancient alchemists called this the quintessence, the fifth element, while earth, water, air, and fire represent the tangible aspects of existence. The quintessence operates on a subtler level. It is the invisible framework that connects all things, the primordial substance through which consciousness manifests. In every practice involving energetic transformation, from ancient alchemical rituals to modern quantum physics, the core idea remains unchanged. Consciousness shapes reality, but it must be directed. The quintessence responds to intention. This is the secret behind water programming, manifestation, and energy healing. When an alchemist works with this invisible substance, they are not manipulating physical matter. They are engaging with a living field of intelligence that vibrates in harmony with the mind and heart. This principle underlies healing processes, spiritual activations, and transformative phenomena that defy conventional logic, for reality itself is fluid, shifting with the vibration of the one who perceives it. It is for this reason that alchemy never truly vanished. Instead, it adapted. The knowledge once transmitted through scrolls and codices now manifests in many forms: energy therapies, meditation practices, and the science of vibration, all modern labels for teachings rooted in ancient principles. The elixirs once crafted in alchemical laboratories have evolved into natural formulas that harmonize body and mind. The internal transmutation once performed in sacred temples now takes place on the personal journey of every seeker. Yet, the goal remains the same: the transmutation of consciousness. True alchemy is not confined to books, symbols, or rituals. It lives in every choice you make, every thought you have, and every emotion you transform. It is evident in the way you convert pain into wisdom, dissolve fear into courage, and ultimately recognize that you are not a prisoner of matter, but the creator of your own reality. The quintessence pulses in everything that exists, and alchemy, far from being lost to time, is actively unfolding within every person daring enough to awaken. Before you go, there's one more important step. I've prepared a special video that delves even deeper into everything we've discussed here. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join our community so you can continue to receive transformative insights and practical guidance on your journey. Then click on the video appearing on your screen now, and I'll meet you on the other side. See you there.